Hello guys, here's my lineup from Sunday's NBA slate. I didn't make any videos the past few days because I've been busy with work, but I've been still posting like my breakdowns, what I would say in these videos on Twitter at Boffles. Link will be in the description. So if you just don't see a video on like a NBA slate on a particular day, make sure you go to my Twitter. I'll probably be tweeting out some notes, and if you have any questions, you can always ask me either on Twitter, you can DM me at me, or you can also just comment on one of my videos. I receive notifications, so I'll always get back to you. But this is the lineup. I just really always target high scoring games, and where, for like Wizards case, you have a lot of usage opened up, things like that. And obviously, you get the stud in Giannis. So this is kind of how I build my lineups. So on to today's slate for Sunday. This is just a placeholder lineup, so don't mind that. But DraftKings for this day, they excluded the first game, which is the Raptors and the Heat, because it's kind of early. It's kind of weird though because they have been including them, but that's actually going to be a benefit probably because there is some injury news that we got to watch. There's also going to be some back-to-backs. That's going to be a first for the bubble, which the back-to-back teams include the Wizards, and the Pacers are actually going to be playing on a back-to-back on Tuesday. And then the Grizzlies also played on Sunday, and the Spurs. So with the Spurs situation, I think you have to monitor that because we always know Popovich definitely rests a lot of veterans, and with Aldridge out, all eyes are going to be on DeRozan if he plays on this back-to-back or not. And Dejounte Murray also has been limited, but recently, before like in late February, he did start playing in back-to-backs. So I feel like probably the young guys, their minutes are safe, but yeah, that's something that we're gonna have to watch. If DeRozan's out, then this game probably is gonna be a blowout because it's a back-to-back and you're losing your best player. So there's definitely gonna be value then if that's the case. But with what we currently know now, Pacers will know before lock, which is gonna be good about Malcolm Brogdon's status. So off we go. We'll go with point guard. So at point guard, I think for the Lakers studs, LeBron, he doesn't feel like a must. Just Utah, we know they're a good defensive matchup, especially inside. And LeBron, he's been kind of passive these past few games. And at 10-7 on this slate, which all the value plays that we've gone to have been priced up. So I don't feel like there's a lot of value like right now to fit in a guy like LeBron, which isn't someone like Giannis or Luka that we usually want in a stud. And it's also just not the matchup for it. Ben Simmons, 9,100. He's a lot more expensive, but this is a pretty good matchup actually. And the Spurs, hopefully DeRozan plays because maybe this game can stay close. But regardless, Ben Simmons has triple-double upside. He's still handling the ball, so even though that move to power forward probably gonna make us think that Simmons doesn't have as much upside or something, but he's still very capable of putting up 10 assists. If you watch the games, he'll still be bringing the ball up court. So still, I think Simmons makes for a terrific play with triple-double upside. And the Spurs, they really aren't that tough of a matchup. They're just a different team. They don't have that same reputation, that same skill set. So Simmons in play, not really a core play, I feel like. Drew Holiday and Lonzo, I prefer Drew for the extra 700 because he's just more talented offensively. And this is a matchup where I would usually want to take players, but the Grizzlies, they're on a back-to-back, which is concerning. But also, for these back-to-backs now, there is no travel, so that's a huge dynamic that should benefit, or I guess the players. But still, a back-to-back, it's always going to be tough when you play 2 games in a row. But regardless, I think Pelicans, they're in a good spot, but the price, they are kind of priced up, so that's why I'm not going to say they're core plays either. But definitely, you wouldn't be surprised if you see Drew Holiday score like 50 points or 60 in this spot. Chris Paul, 7,700. Denver, I like some OKC guys. I'll get to Alexander later, but this is a matchup where it's not as tough because the Nuggets, they said that a lot of their guys are highly questionable, which probably means they're not going to play. So they're going to be losing some of their key players, and that just bumps up all these OKC guys. John Morant, back-to-back, but Memphis, they need to play their guys because they're still fighting for playoffs. They're the 8th seed, but they got to try to hold on. And I always like to target guys against the Pelicans because they play so fast and they're not a good defensive team. So I do like John Morant, 7,300. Murray, he's not going to be a core play for me. I don't think I'll play him. Mitchell, 7K. Tough matchup, but we know the Jazz, that everything's through him, and he's definitely capable of doing that. He'll get assists, rebounds, and good defender, so 7K very much in play. Other guys, Brogdon, if he's not on a limit, he's going to be a core play for me at 6,200. The Wizards are on a back-to-back, and we know how great Wizards were before, and they still are because they play fast, they don't play defense, and that's what we really liked seeing. And somehow they have been staying in games anyway. Murray, I like him. If obviously he's playing, if DeRozan's out, that's gonna make me like him even more. Obviously, there's blowout concern, but Murray is just one of those like big point guards that can do it all. And then I'll just talk about SGA here, point guard. He's 6K, and he's not going to be matched up against Gary Harris most likely because he's probably going to be out. And SGA at 6K, if you look at just how he's been doing, this is a guy that plays the safest minutes, plays the most minutes on this team. And at 6K, he's too cheap. You can put him in cash games, tournament. He has 50-point upside. In this matchup, Denver, they play kind of slow. OKC doesn't play particularly fast either. But you have to remember the price, 6K. This isn't where we're used to seeing him at. And the reputation of Denver, it's really not the same team right now because they're all injured. And so I really like SGA. Probably going to be popular because he is cheap, but he's going to be a core play for me. Shake Milton, not really too excited there, but he's going to go unowned. Niebuhr hasn't looked great, so I'm going to stay away. Derek White, possibly just like Dejounte Murray. And then Mike Conley, 5,500 against the Lakers. I like him because he just seems too cheap still. Monty Morris priced up, so I don't really want him. I prefer to go to Aaron Holiday. Obviously, that's if the starting guards are out. So if Brogdon's out, I'm still going to be interested in Holiday. Not as much because he's priced up now, but still, this is a very good matchup, and he has 40-plus point upside. Like, when you've seen him play without some of their key guys, obviously, there's no Sabonis now. That's a big piece. And then Oladipo possibly resting. He is doubtful, so probably he is. So there's going to be a lot more usage that opens up. And then other guys, Clarkson, 4,900, kind of expensive now. So not really going to be someone that I get to too much. Same with Ish Smith. So yeah, point guard. I'm going to put in Aaron Holiday, but obviously if Brogdon is in, not limited, I'll put Brogdon in. So I'll put a Holiday for now. And shooting guard, guys that I haven't mentioned, Joe Ingles, 5,500. Not really someone I'm going to get to. Troy Brown, 5,200, still in play. I played a lot of him, and I'm glad I did on Sunday, but still, this is a young guy that's going to have to play a ton of minutes, and he's probably going to be guarding TJ Warren, so that's going to be tough for him. He does have a little bit of foul trouble problems, but don't expect TJ Warren to put up a near triple-double again. I just think he still can get you 30 DraftKings points. That's something that's very capable of, or possible, and the matchup, yeah, it's not that great, but also with Oladipo out, Sabonis, possibly Brogdon, this game probably isn't going to be, like just a huge like blowout, but I just think Troy Brown still, he's too cheap. I think you'll see him at 6K or over it by the end of these 8 play-in games. So Troy Brown playing heavy minutes, I like him. And then Dylan Brooks, 5,100. I like him quite a bit because he's pretty affordable. And it is the matchup against the Pelicans. Yes, Drew Holiday's a good defender, but this guy, he's playing heavy minutes. They want him to play. He'll close. And just in a fast-paced environment where it's going to be high scoring, where this court is shorter because it's just different location. It's not a standard NBA court, so it's supposed to be better for shooters, and that's what we've seen through these past few days. Like the games have been just really high scoring, so it favors scorers, and Dylan Brooks is definitely someone that's not afraid to shoot. And Josh Richardson, 4,800. He has upside, but his ball handling is kind of gone now with Simmons and Shake Milton starting. Lonnie Walker and Keldon Johnson, who's at small forward. Those guys are going to be possible plays if DeRozan is out. They've been priced up, so they're not going to be good value plays. And then the Lakers, those guards, I think KCP is the safest now because he plays heavy minutes. Danny Green, sometimes he'll not close, and It will be like Alex Caruso. They'll play AD at center, close with Kuzma, things like that. But usually it's a stay away for me if you want a Laker guard. I'd just rather not play him. And Justin Holiday, going to be interesting if he gets us another start at power forward. Going to be a tough match against Rui Hachimura, who's bigger. But Holiday, again, just the matchup. When you play the Wizards, it's going to be good. And he played a lot of minutes last time. Obviously, he didn't do that well, but at 3,700, it's hard for any guy at this price to bust, especially if you're playing close to 40 minutes and you're playing the Wizards. I almost said Josh Reddick. JJ Reddick and Josh Hart. They're the value guys for the Pelicans. I think they're in play because it is a good matchup against the Grizzlies, but I'd rather just set like group to exclude Reddick or to have only one of Reddick or Hart. Obviously, Reddick, I think he has more upside, but Hart is a little bit like he does a little bit more with rebounding and defense. Reddick, you need him to be knocking down shots. Dion Waiters, 3,200. He's been getting like good minutes, but it's just not a whole lot of upside there. Small forward, Tobias, he's too pricey. DeRozan, I'm really unsure about. I don't think I want him because there's a lot of problems, or a lot of risks with this being a very late game and also back-to-back. Brandon Ingram, I like 8,100. I think he's going to be one of my, probably the favorite Pelican starter for me. With Zion still limited, Brandon Ingram's going to get more usage. Last game was a blowout, so all the Pelicans kind of just did pretty poorly. But it's a good matchup for Ingram, 8,100. It's a little pricey, but I think it is pretty much a good price because if he's in the 7Ks, I think he's just going to be way too high owned because the matchup against the Grizzlies with Zion limited, I think you're going to take him at 8,100. I think that's better because it's going to be a little bit lower owned. TJ Warren, 7,400. I think a lot of people are going to be on this, especially if Brogdon and Oladipo are out. I think it's going to be a chase. I'm not sure if I want to play any, but when you shoot 20 for 29, 9 for 12 from threes, it's not going to happen again. He's not going to take 30 shots. He's not going to make 75% of his threes. So I don't really want TJ Warren here. He's really expensive. You look at a guy who scored 53 real life points but only got 70 DraftKings points. That's a little bit concerning because we know TJ Warren, he sometimes just disappears. If his shot's not falling, you have these poor performances. There's been reports about TJ Warren improving his shot a lot during the break, but I mean 7,400 is very pricey. I get it's a good matchup and the usage is going to definitely be there, but I just feel like when you're 7,400, it's not the same like Karis LeVert on the Nets because LeVert, he's a way better rebounder and assist guy. TJ Warren doesn't have that same playmaking ability, so I just don't think TJ Warren should be 7,400, and I think he's going to be kind of high owned because of just the recency bias and people chasing. Gallinari, usually a safe cash play. His minutes were kind of down last game though, so maybe something to worry about. Grayson O'Neal, 4,900, he's probable. He should play. He's probably going to be guarding LeBron a lot, so going to play heavy minutes, definitely some foul trouble risk, but he's usually a guy that can get, usually 5x. And then Michael Porter Jr., 4,500. If he's going to start, going to get minutes, he's in play. He definitely has upside at that price. And then Kyle Kuzma, 4,400. It's a tougher matchup, so I'm probably not going to get there this time, but he's been playing pretty well. And then guys that I haven't talked about, I think that's it for this position. Power forward, 80, 9,800. It definitely is cheap when you get 80 with a 4-digit price tag. Tough matchup, but I think a guy like 80 who has upside and all the studs on this slate, they don't seem that great. I think 80, for him, if you're going to pay up for someone, I would prefer 80 over LeBron. We'll get to the studs later, though, at center. But 80, if you need to pay up like for power forward, I think he's going to be the guy over like Tobias. And then Ingram, I already talked about him. Zion, limited, so just stay away. Horford, not getting the minutes off the bench. He's too expensive. Jaren Jackson, he's 6,200 now. He's probably going to guard Zion, and that's very concerning, even though he's limited, because Zion's just so active, and Jaren Jackson, we know he can't keep his hands to himself. This is a tough matchup for Jackson defending because there's a lot of foul trouble risk. But if you don't think that's something that you want to worry about, then yeah, very good matchup in terms of like the pace and the defense. But individual matchup, that's the tough part. So that's for him. And then Hachimura, he's priced down now, so I like him 5,800. A lot more appealing, especially when he doesn't have to deal with Sabonis now. Millsap 4,900, very good. Same with Jeremy Grant 4,700. Grant comes off the bench, but they usually play pretty similar minutes, so you're probably going to get lower ownership on Grant, which is probably a really good thing if you're deciding between them, and you set like a group, same thing, exclude or at most you get Millsap, Grant, one of them, and then other guys. Brandon Clark 4,200. He burned me, but I mean again. He closes games. Like, he didn't play well, but he closed games over Valanciunas. Valanciunas needs to have a monster game for him to close. And there's a lot of foul trouble risk, a lot of ways in which Clark can pick up minutes, like Jackson especially, Valanciunas this game. There's a lot of like foul trouble risk, I guess, for the bigs when you have like Zion just driving through the paint, even in limited minutes. So Clark 4,200 feels a little bit cheap because a lot of these other value guys have been priced up, and he's still down here. So probably going to be a guy that I go to a lot for value, even though he's on a back-to-back. And then other guys, yeah, that's it. For center now, Embiid 10.3. I think I prefer Jokic here. Embiid, yeah, he had a monster game last time. So, that's, I mean, I don't want to chase. Same thing. It's like when someone has a monster game, usually they can't do it back-to-back. Like a game to this magnitude and against the Spurs, it's not a tough matchup, but he's 10-3 now. He wasn't this pricey last time, so I just rather save a little bit. I think there are other better plays. Jokic 9,400. I like this. Jamal Murray probably going to be out, and Jokic, he's going to be, again, just the main guy like he usually is, and without all these starters, he's going to pick up more usage. And Steven Adams is not someone that he's had trouble with in the past, so I think he should be 5 digits, right about where Embiid's price is, and he's not. So he's going to be my favorite spend up 9,400 of this slate. Valanciunas 7,900. He's a little bit expensive for me, so I'm not going to go to him, but it wouldn't surprise me if he put up 2020. And then Gobert 7,100. Tough matchup, but he's someone that usually we can count on for a double-double. And then Thomas Bryant, also someone that I feel like is chasing at this point. Miles Turner's a good defender, and it's just a way tougher matchup than Jared Allen. He's priced up now, so don't really want that. But Miles Turner, other side, I like him. Thomas Bryant's not a good defender. 6,100 for Miles Turner, especially without Sabonis. He picks up usage, he picks up rebounds, and when they do have guys like that missing, they go to the pick and roll, pick and pop a lot more. Obviously with TJ Warren possibly taking a step up in his game, that could maybe take away some shots, but Miles Turner, 6,100, very good matchup. So I like him quite a bit, and hopefully he's not too high owned because of the poor game last time. He was just in foul trouble against Embiid. Steven Adams, I like 5,400. He's cheap. Tough matchup against Jokic, but if he's able to stay on the court, he's too cheap. He's a guy that we usually can count on for like about 5x every time. And then Derek Favors, I like 5,300. Against the Grizzlies, they're going to need him because they do go big with 2 power forward centers at all times. So Favors, someone that usually gets benched, they go Zion at center. They can't do that because he's still limited. So Favors at 5,300, I like. Jakob Poeltl, 5,100, just foul trouble risk with Embiid. And then, yeah, that's it for center. So center is going to be Jokic for me. Other top plays, it's going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And then for the value guy, I said it was going to be Brandon Clark. Obviously, if other value pops up, then we're going to have to pick those guys. But I'll update you guys in the comments or on Twitter. So make sure you follow me at both places. And then Miles Turner. Got to take a piece of the Pacers side. And he's very reasonably priced. So Aaron Holiday, if Brogdon plays without restrictions, it's going to be Brogdon. So it's either going to be Aaron Holiday or Malcolm Brogdon, and then it's going to be SGA, Brandon Clark, Nikola Jokic, and Miles Turner as my 5 picks for this slate. And remember, this is going to be a 1 p.m. Pacific time start, so you're going to have a little bit more time to make your lineups. So good luck on the slate as usual. Follow me on Twitter at Boffles, link in the description below, and I'm always happy to answer any of your guys' questions. So thanks for watching, and good luck on the slate. Bye.